Hello, I'm Greg Tanner. I'm the head of multimedia here at The National. Welcome to this week's A Closer Look. New year, new laws. Fresh rules, regulations, taxes and changes have either come in this year or will be coming in the near future. And here to run through some of the key items is our news editor, Sarah Forster. Sarah, Happy New Year and thank you for joining us.
Happy New Year, thanks for having me.
Let's start with health insurance because there's a sort of swathe of changes that are going to be coming into effect or actually have come into effect yesterday. Talk us through the key points.
So exactly, these changes came in on the 1st of January, but they don't necessarily immediately affect everyone. So one thing that might be a little bit confusing is that mandatory health insurance has already been in effect in Abu Dhabi and Dubai for a while. So for a lot of people, life isn't going to change. There's nothing to worry about. However, for employers in the rest of the 7 Emirates, things changed as of the 1st of January. So this now means that all private employees, private sector employees and domestic workers need to have basic health insurance. Now packages, start as low as sort of 300 odd dirhams, but they, go up from there. The important thing to remember is that if you had your visa, your residence visa issued after the 1st of January of last year, there's nothing that needs to be done there. You wait until it gets reissued. If it was done prior to that, then the basic health insurance does need to be sort of purchased and implemented. And then obviously any new or reissuances of residency visas from now will all have to have that basic at least the basic mandatory health insurance.
Right. Now we know the UAE has been one of the countries spearheading the crackdown on plastics, and they're getting even tougher as of yesterday. What's been banned now?
Well, this is all part of the overall plan. So we know Abu Dhabi also has its own plastic ban plan in place. It's quite hard to say, plastic ban plan in place. But Dubai has their own, and as of the 1st of January 2025, now even more things are banned. So previously we know it was the plastic bags, but now it will include styrofoam cups and lids, which we know take absolutely forever to decompose. It's plastic stirrers, coffee stirrers, plastic straws, and also even down to, those cotton swabs, that have the little plastic bar in the middle. Those now need to be made of something else, so it is another step on this plastic ban crackdown.
Okay, let's talk about corporate tax, everybody's favourite subject. There's going to be some changes affecting multinational companies, or large multinational companies in particular. What's the details there?
It used to be a sort of tax-free environment for corporate entities here, and then when it was brought in at 9%. That has now been increased to 15%, and that's for financial years starting on or after the 1st of January of this year. So that was information that came from the Ministry of Finance. It's called a domestic minimum top-up tax, and this is going to apply to multinational enterprises with revenues of $790 million, or more in at least 2 of the 4 immediately preceding years.
Staying with the workplace, and Emiratization targets have also increased, haven't they?
Yeah, so this is just, again, another step in an overall plan. It's not necessarily new, we all knew it was coming. The Emirates have a plan to make 10% of all private workplaces with 50 or more employees as Emirati by the end of 2026. So there's basically a new target every 6 months. So at the moment, a new target has been set for the end of June of this year, which is 7%. So companies now have 6 months to make sure that their staff, if it's more than 50 people or more, is made up 7% of Emiratis. The fine for each unappointed Emirati worker is 96,000 dirhams, and those sort of financial penalties will start to be imposed from the 1st of this year.
And then finally, some changes coming in for drivers who may not like the sound of some of them, to charges on Salik, the road tolls, and parking's going to get more expensive as well, right?
Yeah, basically just using your car is going to get a little bit more expensive. Salik are introducing, they already introduced a couple of months ago some new toll gates, and now they're introducing what's essentially like dynamic charging. So some times of the day it will be more expensive than others, although between, I think it's about 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. it is still free. It will be 4 dirhams on Sundays, excluding public holidays and sort of special occasions, major events. But essentially between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 8 p.m, that's considered peak. whereas off-peak charges between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. and then 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. are just going to stay at 4 dirhams. These variable rates are starting at the end of January, so they haven't kicked in just yet, but they will be, before you know it. And then regarding parking, it's going to be 6 dirhams an hour peak times between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. and then 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. And those are in premium parking locations. Other locations will be 4 dirhams. So what's a premium parking location, you might ask me? That is basically anywhere near popular areas, so metro stations, etc. There are also going to be increased parking charges around event venues. So for example, Dubai World Trade Center is going to be the first one to implement these from February, and that's going to be 25 dirhams an hour.
Well, an awful lot to get your head around for 2025. Sarah Forster, thank you very much for joining us.